But even at the lower levels of polls, I believe that a number of our people were rigged out to pave way for an UDA majority, and that during election petitions, this will be proved to have been the case. But I mention petitions with some trepidation. First, you have noticed the corruption, the dysfunction, the incompetence, and the capture of the IEBC, the body charged with carrying out elections in our country. Secondly, you have noticed the attitude, the thuggery, the corruption, and the cynicism of the Supreme Court judges. The words that the Chief Justice used against us have never been used in our courts, even in the dark days of single-party rule and state capture of the judiciary. Our case, presented by the country's finest legal mind, as no more than hot air, a wild goose chase, incredible and hearsay evidence, red herring. These were words of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. It is my experience that whenever judges resort to insults on litigants and advocates, it is the result of a disturbed conscience. You have been here before. You have come from a judiciary that invested in threats and humiliation of litigants and advocates so that the country would not question them. That is the Supreme Court we witnessed in the presidential election case. We also have come from a judiciary that invested in intimidation. Today, the Supreme Court is threatening those talking against the judgment in the presidential petition. According to Madam Martha Koome, that judgment is not supposed to be discussed by anyone, anywhere. The court registrar has already issued threats on those who have criticized the despicable judgment of the court. In fact, Justice Isaac Lenaola is publicly accused of threatening one of the petitioners, Senator Okia Mtata, with the ruination over his stand on the court judgment. And he told Mtata that he is not an Emormor, which is the king of the Teso. And the Chief Justice has gone out to a funeral in her village and defended the judgment even before she gives out the detailed ruling. Supreme Court is now in politics. And she said that the ruling was inspired by God. I believe it was inspired by the devil. From our history as a country, we know this is an indication of a very disturbed conscience. It is the evidence of a court that sold its soul. The actions of the Chief Justice are clearly sycophantic. She has demeaned the dignity of the office of Chief Justice. In less than a year, she has destroyed what her predecessors achieved in 10 years. As if this is not bad enough, there's clearly a push by the executive to own the judiciary through illegal actions that amount to bribery. That is the reason for the rush to appoint 6 judges and to allocate money to the judiciary. That is the reason for the rush by the executive to allocate specific amount of money to the judiciary. Financial allocation to institutions and state agencies is done by Parliament based on a scrutiny of budget proposals presented by the institutions. In this case, the executive has given itself that role. It is a plain attempt to capture the judiciary through bribery. How else do you say, I'm going to give the judiciary every 3 years, I'm going to increase your budget by 3 billion shillings, How do you know how much judiciary requires?